Hey guys, and welcome to Ardent Sports, and I'm going live on actually several different platforms today for the first time. I'm hoping to be joined by some people later on, but we'll be doing some trade deadline coverage. So quite a bit has happened to start the trade deadline. It's been going on for the past couple weeks, really. Most notably, Taijuan Walker and Dan Vogelbach have been traded to the Toronto Blue Jays over the last few days. We have also had the Padres making a slur of moves, which we'll touch on shortly. Hopefully once I get some people in here. So what this really is, the trade deadline hasn't actually happened yet. The trade deadline, the actual deadline itself, is at 4 p.m. Wow, we got 18 people in here already. That's awesome. So that's basically what's happening is a lot of people didn't think the trade deadline was going to happen this year due to the fact of COVID and all that other good stuff. But it's happening in a wide capacity. Gyarados freak at work, but want to stop and show some love. Have a great stream, bro. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. But yeah, so a lot of people were not thinking this was going to happen, but sure enough, it's happening. Quite a few moves have happened already. We've had Mike Clevenger traded in a massive haul from the Cleveland Indians to the San Diego Padres. The Padres, like I said, have been making a crap ton of moves. They've gotten Jason Castro. They've gotten Greg Allen. They've gotten Mitch Moreland, Austin Nola, just to name a few. So we'll actually pop that up real quick. So Padres have acquired Greg Allen, Mitch Moreland, Mike Clevenger, Trevor Rosenthal, Austin Nola, Jason Castro, Austin Adams, and Dan Alavila. So a lot of moves for the Padres, who are obviously trying to go all in this year to try and win. A lot of teams are like, it's 2020. Nothing has gone right. So if nothing is going to go right, then it's our chance. Kind of feel like the Marlins are in that same boat, as far as, they're not out of it by any means necessary. So it's kind of just a matter of what's going to happen, So, but to go along with that, I'm really hoping Johnny gets up here soon because I want his input on this. A lot of teams were in on Clevenger. I know most notably the White Sox, the Yankees, the Padres, and there's one more that I'm blanking on all of a sudden. But they were all in on Clevenger. I did not expect him to go to the White Sox by any means necessary, for several reasons. One of the main reasons being I didn't see them wanting to break up that core of young talent that they have, whether the talent be up already or the talent will be up in the next couple of years. Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, just to be a couple. I did not see Chicago wanting to break up that young core. To go along with that, I don't see Cleveland trading a star talent like Clevenger, a true ace, within division, especially where it's not like it's for a rental. It's not like Clevenger's a free agent at the end of the season. Clevenger's a free agent at the end of 2022. So definitely did not expect Clevenger to go to Chicago by any means necessary. So, but we are about just a little over 90 minutes away from the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens there. Yankees are still interested or rumored to be in on a few different moves, including Archie Bradley and Starling Marte from the Diamondbacks. They've been rumored with Kevin Gausman from the Giants. The Marlins have also been kind of tied to Archie Bradley and Starling Marte. Again, kind of what I was saying just a few minutes ago about how the Marlins and Padres both are kind of thinking, hey, we may be able to do something this year. Yes, there's going to be an asterisk next to this World Series. Let's be honest. It's a 60-game season. It's 8 teams from each league. I don't think that that's going to be the move going forward, but we'll have to see what happens there. So I'm keeping an eye on MLB Network because that's going to be like the main way to get any updates on anything, as well as just keeping an eye on my phone. So I'm just trying to see what happens and where. So anyway, guys, drop some comments down. Tell me what you guys think is going to happen today. What your favorite teams are, what you guys want to see happen for your team, what you guys think about the moves that have happened so far. And let's get a conversation going. Some live score updates. We got Baltimore facing Toronto. Baltimore is actually leading 1-0 right now. It's only the bottom of the first. The Orioles are the Blue Jays rather are just coming up. But so we'll have to see what happens there. I know the Marlins and the Mets, I believe, are both tied at 0 right now in the fourth. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, guys, like I said, get some comments going. Let's have a conversation with you, everybody. Also, if anyone wants the link to come on up and talk actually on here, let me know. I'll be happy to drop that as well. So there he is. There he is. I was wondering if you were going to pop up. Can you hear me?
I got you. I don't know if you got me, though.
Yep, I got you now.
Okay.
All right. Johnny Talk Sports is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. So we actually got a decent amount of people in here. We've been fluctuating between 10 and 30, so that's pretty cool. It's kind of what happens when you go live on 4 different platforms at once. So anyway, Johnny, if you want to introduce yourself before we get the ball rolling, as I've kind of done a little bit already.
Well, just like you, I also do a channel on sports. So feel free to subscribe to me, as we are just getting back into the transition of the return of sports. So that's more content from me.
Absolutely.
Very exciting that college football starts this week, though, but maybe not the best matchups, but I'm sure the games will be good they'll be good anyways. But that's something else another day, because right now our main focus is on this trade deadline. Even though I've been kind of talking about how it almost seems like I was talking about it with you maybe about an hour and a half ago, about how lately the trade deadline just kind of feels a little bit anticlimactic.
A little
because
bit.
really not much happens like on the final day. Because it felt like everything was kind of taking place yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I know you were saying that there were some names that were probably going to be dealt, or they could get dealt, or at least they're rumored to be dealt.
Yeah, I'll throw the one graphic back up about just what the Padres have done alone.
Yeah, the Padres are making some moves, especially with how good they're doing offensively. The rising star in Fernando Tatis.
Yep.
And
So
how good Will Myers is doing this season, too.
Yeah, Will Myers has definitely come out of nowhere. Just name a few: Greg Allen, Mitch Moreland, Mike Clevenger, Trevor Rosenthal, Jason Castro, Austin Nola, Austin Adams, and Dan Altavilla. And honestly, I'm not sure that AJ Preller's done yet. I mean, you and I both know how AJ Preller works. Think about when he took over that team back in 2014, I believe it was 2015. He went out. He got Craig Kimbrell. He got Justin Upton. He got Will Middlebrooks, Derek Norris, just to name a few. Thinking, all right, let's get some names in here. Let's start winning some ball games. Now, it didn't necessarily work in his favor, as Middlebrooks didn't pan out too much. Norris turned out to be an average catcher at best. Kimbrell and Upton, though, ended up doing pretty well in their time with San Diego, I feel. I'll never forget Kimbrell. I'm almost positive that Kimbrell got dealt to the Padres from the Braves on opening day or the day before opening day. And I was just like, wait a minute. We're doing this now? So that was something that I know was very crazy.
And it would make sense for the Padres to make some serious moves here, considering that they're competing in the top for their division, and with how good they've been doing offensively these last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to touch on, the trade of the hour. Well, trade of the day, really. And that is the Cleveland Indians trading Clevenger, Allen, and a player to be named later to the Padres for Gabriel Arias, Joey Cantillo, Austin Hedges, Owen Miller, Josh Naylor, and Cal Cal Quantrill. I can never say his name smoothly. This is, I think, the second biggest trade in the last 10 years, only behind the 2013 orchestrated trade between the Marlins and the Blue Jays. I don't know if you remember that one, Johnny, but that was Miami sent Mark Burley, Jose Reyes, Josh Johnson, John Buck, and Emilio Bonifacio to Toronto in exchange for Henderson Alvarez, Denny Echeverria, Yunel Escobar, Jake Marisnik, Anthony Descalfini, Justin Nicolino, and Jeff Mathis.
Well, it was only a matter of time until like Clevenger was not going to be an Indian. I mean, as soon as they talked about his behaviors a few weeks ago with him violating those team rules, or like what exactly did he do? Like was it like he was out after curfew or something like that? Or
Yep. So it was first announced that Zach Plesac had went out, basically broke the team's quarantine rule or whatever, basically, stay in isolation, stay in the hotel, the whole 9 yards. He had broken that rule after a game. They were celebrating a win, and then it was later reported that Clevenger went out with him. So both of them got sent to the alternate site, placed on the restricted list first. Then both got sent to the alternate site. Plesac, I believe, is still down there. While Clevenger got recently recalled. I think they use Clevenger as more of a showcase for teams to kind of get a grip of what he's like. Whereas Plesac, I think, is just kind of like a disciplinary thing on top of the fact that he wasn't doing completely stellar this season. So I think that is going to be the main difference between Plesac and Clevenger. Is Clevenger, they're going to ship out one way or another. And I kind of knew that once they got rid of Corey Kluber. I'm like, all right, Clevenger or Carrasco have got to be next.
And they also traded Bauer last year.
And trading Bauer cross town to Cincinnati. Or cross state to Cincinnati, I should say. So, I don't know. I definitely saw it coming. I did not necessarily see the Padres going for him. I kind of saw the Padres going more after Lance Lynn of Texas, who I still expect to be moved by the 4 o'clock deadline, which we are about an hour and 27 minutes from. So, what are your you have anyone who you think might be getting moved? Anyone that stands out?
Well, it's been rumored for I heard it from another channel that they think that Danny Duffy could get dealt probably, or even Whit Merrifield, which I don't see why you'd want to deal Whit Merrifield because Whit Merrifield's been one of your best players for the Royals. And with Danny Duffy, I think there are some teams that would be willing to kind of buy into Danny Duffy because he doesn't really look well statistically, only because the Royals don't really provide run support as a team like probably the Dodgers would, maybe the Braves would, or any other offensive team like that.
Right, I hear you. That's I don't know. I was kind of hearing the whole Danny Duffy thing as well. I mean, he's been doing okay this season. I mean, he hasn't been he hasn't been lights out, kind of like Garrett Cole, Clevenger, and even Kershaw to an extent, and Walker Buehler. But he also has been, for his workload, for his caliber, he's been doing pretty solid, I got to say. So I don't foresee the Royals getting a huge haul for him. I'm not saying they wouldn't get anything, but I mean, it definitely wouldn't be as much as, say, Whit Merrifield and Bubba Starling, one of their top prospects. They could trade Merrifield and Starling and possibly net someone like maybe like a JD Martinez or something. But that's just me.
Let's see. Lance Lynn, I think, could get dealt as well. I'm just not sure who would want to really buy into him because Lance Lynn he's done pretty well. He did go a complete game. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I think, or last week.
Now you make me think. I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I think, 2 hits, 2 hits, 3. No, I'm sorry. 2 runs, 3 hits. I think 4 walks or something like that. So I mean, it wasn't a bad outing at all. So I'm going through making sure we're running smoothly on everything.
And we did see Robbie Ray get dealt to the Blue Jays.
Yes, that's another one that I have queued up here. Where is it? There it is. Blue Jays acquiring Robbie Ray from the Diamondbacks for, I believe, left-handed pitcher Travis Bergen. So I got to be honest, being a Yankee guy, I'm a little scared about Toronto. They're definitely trying to kind of creep up on us and overtake us and overtake the Rays. Like I was saying when I started this, just in the last week, 2 weeks alone, they've gotten Dan Vogelbach and Taijuan Walker from the Seattle Mariners, and now they're getting Robbie Ray. Now, none of these guys are true, like, in-your-face talent, like, going to go off and hit 30 bombs, go off and pitch to a 2.0 ERA. They're not necessarily guys like that, but at the same time, they can work on maintaining that solid 270 batting average for Dan Vogelbach if he can stay healthy and produce, and that 3.2 to 3.6 ERA for both Robbie Ray and Taijuan Walker, which with the power and the hitting capability that Toronto has, it will be enough to win ball games because their defense works out pretty nicely. We got a comment here from Angel Torres. No Yankees moves. None yet. Kind of surprising, but like I was saying, we still have about an hour and 20 minutes left. They have been tied to a few guys, mainly out west with Kevin Gausman of the San Francisco Giants, as well as Archie Bradley and Starling Marte of the Diamondbacks. So between those guys, and there's been a couple other names here and there that could be brought up. I expect the Yankees to do something. It may not be as big as a Yankee fan would like Cashman to do, but Cashman's kind of had that track record over the last few years of not making those big, huge, bold, in-your-face moves, at least as far as a buying standpoint. Back in 2016, 2017, he went and sold, I think it was 2016, he went and sold Chapman for Gleyber Torres. That worked out kind of nice. We didn't think it would at first. Got rid of Andrew Miller, which turned into Clint Frazier, and Justice Sheffield, which in turn turned into James Paxton. Okay. Got rid of Carlos Beltran, which turned into Zach Britton because we got Dylan Tate. Not bad. And Brian McCann, which that didn't turn into a whole much of anything. So Cashman kind of works more for the future, even when he's buying. So we'll have to see what happens with the whole Yankee trade deadline.
I think with the shortened season, you just got to focus on probably winning this year. Right. Especially with the extension of the amount of teams in the playoffs, which could be why maybe a lot of teams are making more moves than what they normally do. Or we're seeing the overall quantity of teams that are making efforts to make moves.
Yeah. There's one other bigger trade that's happened so far, and that is Mike Minor being traded from the Texas Rangers to the Oakland Athletics. Now, however, with that being said, we do not know what the return for Mike Minor is yet, as it's 2 players to be named later. So that may not be announced for a couple weeks yet. So we'll have to see what happens there.
And they probably still have to pass screenings too.
Yep.
Including COVID, most likely.
Yeah.
Which
so
is probably why we don't really know all these names yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like the acquisition of Mike Minor for Oakland. It's been a team that has been right on that cusp. They're in first place right now in their division. They're ahead of Houston, and as a Yankee fan, I'm so happy to say that. But they're a team that is like one starter and a bat or two away from being really good. Now, I believe Mike Minor is in fact a rental. I believe he is a free agent at the end of the season. But we'll see what happens there and if they can get anything to transpire before the end of the trade deadline.
And I think this is going to be good for the Athletics, considering that Sean Manaea has been struggling so far this season,
Yeah.
especially towards the beginning.
I think he's pitching to what, a 5.3 ERA so far this season. I think he has his win-loss, I think, is negative.
Sean Manaea at all. Well, any pitcher in general.
No, it's definitely. I mean, if you think of Sean Manaea, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, where he had the one no-hitter and then almost had one or two more on top of it, all in the same season within, I think, a month and a half, 2 months of each other. I'm like, wait, this guy's going, off the wall crazy. Like, he could be, the next freaking Randy Johnson.
And yet he's struggling this season.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got. Anything else going on right now? I'm just kind of refreshing everything. So this is one thing I actually don't know about you, Johnny. What is your team?
Well, I do like to follow Atlanta sports, so I usually look at the Atlanta Braves the most.
Okay.
And I'm really, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought maybe the Braves would at least make a better effort in going after a pitcher, considering that Soroka is out for the season and he's probably going to miss the majority of the next season as well. So you got to think about that, considering that they are up in their division still. With the season being so short, one bad week could be the difference between making and missing the playoffs.
Exactly. Even with 8 teams making it from each league, because it's the top 2 from each division and then the next 2. The Yankees were just on a 7-game skid and came back to win their next 3 games. So that kind of helped in a way, but at the same time, that 7-game skid really hurt them. And I knew when I read that they were playing 7 games in 5 days, I'm like, this is not going to go well. So.
Yeah, and I don't see how. I feel like it should have started the season earlier if they were just going to have a 60-game schedule anyway. Because if you think about it, they could have just done something different in case there was an outbreak, because we've had outbreaks on the Marlins and on the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
It could have just been everybody plays until whatever day in the best 16 teams with the best percentage. That's your playoffs. They could have just done that.
Right, but if you think about it, though, when this whole thing started, they weren't even done with spring training yet. When the whole breakout started, and it started with Rudy Gobert of the Utah he plays for.
Yeah, the Jazz.
Yeah, so it started with that, and all the other sports just started to follow suit. So, and when it happened, like I said, it was mid-March. I think it was March 19th, I think, is when baseball shut down, because I had literally just watched the last pitch of the Yankees and Nationals spring training game. And within 20 minutes, rest of spring training canceled, season on hold for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks turned into 4, and then 4 turned into 8.
And 8 weeks turned into 6 months. Almost. So,
to be honest, I don't even know why we're playing sports right now without a vaccine out there.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. I think that's kind of part of, why at least, and we talked about this with Hobo the other day on the NFL fantasy draft video. That's why the NBA, they're doing the bubble. NHL is doing the bubble. MLB is talking about doing a bubble for the playoffs.
Well, they should have been doing a bubble to begin with, because that way you can limit your outbreaks. And if you really look at the overall numbers, the NBA, well, not only just the numbers, but if you just look at the results, the bubble has been successful for the NBA, the NHL, and the MLS.
Yeah. I think it's out of 11,000 cases they've done, or 11,000 tests rather, for the NBA, NHL combined. I think that they've had, a total of, 12 tests or 12 positive tests since they've started their bubbles. It's that's absolutely insane.
And where would we kind of see teams maybe if they were to do a bubble? Could we maybe see like some spring training facilities? Because I'm sure it wouldn't matter considering that the whole season's being played without fans anyway.
Right. I know that they're talking about, at least for the playoffs, having the American League be in Southern California, and then the National League be in Texas. I don't know if they're talking strictly Arlington or if they're going to use Arlington and Houston. And then I know that they're talking about doing the World Series strictly at the Rangers' new ballpark. So, let's say it's the Yankees and Dodgers, then they would have their home team and their away team kind of flip back and forth, but stay at the same ballpark. Probably even stay in the same dugouts just to be safe. Just, these two games you're the away team, these two games you're the home team. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they go about this whole entire thing. I'm happy that we're able to get through the season, at least so far. I mean, obviously we still got a little. Yeah, exactly.
Anything could happen though.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying so far, because I know we still have at least a month and a half to go. But if we can get through this, and hopefully between the last pitch of the World Series and the first pitch of opening day 2021, this thing is not completely behind us, because let's be real, it won't be completely behind us, but if it can at least be behind us to an extent.
Hang on a second. I think I'll be right back.
Yep. But anyway, guys, what I'm saying is, to the extent of where this is at least to an extent behind us, where they can maybe even allow fans even at like a 20% capacity again, something. Because I know like the Chiefs, for example, are saying, okay, we can have fans. I think it's like 25.3%, which is still like 40,000 for Arrowhead, because Arrowhead seats a lot of friggin' people. I don't think I quite have those numbers right, but it's what I read. I'm almost thinking that article was a typo. Maybe it was 4,000 and they wrote 40,000. But either way, 4,000 people, even if you're doing every other seat or every other two seats. Excuse me, guys. I don't foresee that working out well. Dark Sage 9117. I'm going to give an unpopular opinion here, but I stand by this opinion. What you got? Didn't show a thing. Okay.
It was one of those telemarketer things.
Oh, nice. So there was a lot of speculation about Trevor Bauer in the weeks leading up to the Reds. But all indications are that Cincinnati is going for it, and there's been no buzz about moving him. So unless something miraculous happens, he's staying in Cincinnati. My dogs are barking. I think the mail's here. All right, Doug Sage. I'm curious as to what this opinion is. Yeah, both my dogs are freaking out. Definitely the male. The only thing baseball can do this year is a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. That is the one thing that can save baseball this year. I know many people do not want to see that, but I admit that's the one thing I want to see, and the one World Series we need in 2020. I actually don't disagree, especially since the Yankees went out and got Cole, and the Dodgers went out and got Betts, and Price, but Price is opting out the season. I said since then, in fact, I think I even put a video up on my YouTube channel about the World Series this year, and with those acquisitions, it being a Yankee-Dodger World Series, because I did not see too many teams actually beating them. Boston got significantly worse, obviously. Houston got significantly worse. Not a whole lot of National League teams really built up from last year. Like even the Nationals, who seem to overall stay maintained, with the exception of losing Anthony Rendon. But by turn, they went out and got Eric Thames and a couple other guys. I thought maybe that would kind of counterbalance. It really hasn't, though. So, and I actually stand by it now, too, that the Yankees and the Dodgers seem to be the two best teams in baseball. Yes, Oakland and Tampa Bay are kind of right there. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Cleveland now that they got rid of Clevenger. I was watching MLB Network this morning, and they're MLB Central, that's the show. And Joel Sherman was on saying that he anticipates Cleveland maybe taking one or two of the pieces that they got in the Clevenger trade and going out to get a bat somewhere, maybe from Washington, from the Mets, from Boston, trying to get another bat to build on their offense that has been kind of lackluster this season. Jose Ramirez hasn't been the same. Francisco Lindor has been good, but not that right tier. Their second base situation is kind of iffy. It's been really all over the place. Another thing that people have to think about is how much more does Carlos Santana really have in the tank? He's got to be coming up close to the end of his career over the next couple of years. And then you just lost one of your better rotation options in Mike Clevenger. So you got to think about that as well.
Yeah, and you got to think, who can really beat the Dodgers in the National League? I thought that maybe the Braves could, but that was before Soroka went out for the season. And they're dealing with injuries right now with Ozzie Albies. And Ronald Acuna, I believe, just came back this past week.
Yep, he came back and made his return actually against the Yankees back on Tuesday, I believe it was. Tuesday or Wednesday.
I even remember saying, before opening day, I think the Dodgers, they're going to easily have the best record in the league. Because when you think about it, which offense in the league is better than the Dodgers?
Exactly.
At least from a more statistical standpoint throughout the long term of the season. I know the Padres are doing really well. They're on a hot streak. But I just say in a 7-game series, I just can't see the Padres actually beating the Dodgers in a 7-game series. They could get maybe one game or two, but I just can't see them winning 4 of them or even 3.
Real quick, we have Angel Torres again. Yankees need to add 2 more starting pitchers and add 2 bullpen arms. I'll be honest with you, I don't foresee that happening, especially where we're an hour and 7 minutes out from the end of the trade deadline. I don't disagree. I think if they can get Archie Bradley from the Diamondbacks and maybe Kevin Gausman from the Giants, because A, both of them aren't going to cost much, and B, both, or at least Gausman, I'm not sure about Bradley, but Gausman would be a rental that we, again, wouldn't have to give up a lot for, may be able to help out with the not putting Hap out there every 5 days. Hey, maybe we get rid of Hap. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Also, I wouldn't be opposed to them getting Starling Marte to help fill that void in the outfield so we don't have to have Miguel Andujar come back up from the alternate site and play in left field because, I'm sorry, he is not an outfielder. What are your thoughts on that, Johnny? You think the Yankees are going to – what do you think the Yankees are going to pull out here? Anything?
As I kind of said when I originally came on, I feel like everything that's really been going through – I think it's already happened already. I think for the next hour, it's just going to be pretty much banter from MLB social media or even MLB television about things that could possibly happen, but it just won't happen. Because I think if you're wanting to make a big trade at the trade deadline, you would have done it at the very latest, probably this morning.
See, I don't disagree with that, but by the same token, let's think back to a couple years ago when Houston struck the deal for Justin Verlander at $3.59 at the trade deadline. Yes, it wasn't this big, huge blockbuster, but it was easily the biggest name moved at that trade deadline, and it came literally in the last 60 seconds.
Yeah, but you're not really – but do you think, though, that probably couldn't have been planned, though? It could have been planned for hours and they were discussing things. And
even if it was, what's to say it's not going to happen again this year?
I mean, if you're wanting to make a new deal for somebody right now, do you think that you'll be able to come to an agreement within an hour? Because we're getting pretty close to the 1 hour mark.
Oh, I guarantee you conversations are have been going on for the last few days. I'm just talking about them getting released to the public. I guarantee you that Clevenger trade, they orchestrated, especially it being 9 players, had to have been at least a 24-hour thing. Had to have been. I doubt many conversations.
It maybe could have been maybe within a week, considering that they seem to be pretty upset with him and about breaking the team curfew or breaking the quarantine or whatever it was.
Yeah,
so that probably could have been planned for ever since then.
I don't think many conversations are just starting now, unless it's like a quick 1-for-1. Like that Robbie Ray one, that may not have taken that long. That could have been a half hour tops. But anything big, multiplayer, even multi-prospect, international slot money, cash considerations, player to be named laters, those are the ones that take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 hours. So, but we still got 1 hour and 3 minutes until the trade deadline. Now, I know that there are times where the trade will be agreed, because all that has to happen is the trade has to be more or less agreed upon and info has to be in the works by 4 p.m. There could still be trades being announced at 5, at 6, at 7, at 8 p.m. tonight. No, I'm not going to be on stream that long, but it could happen. I remember 2017, Darvish. He put a post up on his Twitter at 3:58, still here in front of his Rangers locker with his Rangers hat on, because he was one of the big names that was being speculated being moved, especially to someone like the Dodgers, or even I think the Cubs were interested at that point. And all of a sudden, I think it was like 4:12 or something, Darvish traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I actually remember that.
So, right here, breaking news. Marlins are making a trade. So we have no idea what's going on yet, and this isn't even completely confirmed. But usually,
making a trade. I actually
Marlins are making a trade right now.
Tweets turned on, so I don't see it yet.
Oh, see, I have Joel Sherman, John Heyman, Ken Rosenthal. I have all of them. So it's the Arizona Diamondbacks again and the Miami Marlins. No idea what the return is yet, but hearing that the Marlins are acquiring Starling Marte to help bolster that outfield. The Marlins are making a run.
That's a good deal for the Marlins.
It really is. The Marlins are making a run. So we'll have to see what happens there, what more transpires in that trade. So.
And that's going to definitely help out the outfield, because one outfielder on the Marlins that's definitely someone that is kind of up and down is Brian Anderson.
Oh, another one just dropped. Jonathan VR is going to the Blue Jays. So there's their shortstop for Bo Bichette being out for a while. So I think that takes Andrelton Simmons off the board for Toronto. I told you, the last hour is when stuff gets crazy. These things have to start being announced and start being worked on, and start being agreed upon by the GMs. The last hour is when stuff can get really crazy. And actually, Ken Rosenthal is the one that tweeted that one.
Yeah, I'm just now getting the Ken Rosenthal one about Starling Marte.
Yep. So I'm not seeing, like I said, I'm not seeing anything about what they're getting back. Meaning the Diamondbacks. I don't see it being too much major league talent. Definitely going to see it more of like a prospect and maybe some money. But Marte is actually a free agent at the end of the season. So it kind of makes you wonder, are they going to try and sign him to an extension, or go back and re-sign him in the offseason? Or is this just going to be something to get them through this season and then come back down next season?
I think it could depend on how he performs, especially if the Marlins can make a playoff run. And if he's responsible or has a big part in that, then we'll see probably an extension or re-signing him in the offseason.
Yeah.
Of course, if the season finishes.
Nothing more right now, but like I said, stuff's definitely starting to roll.
You did say that you would like if the Yankees were to trade for offensive fielding help.
Mm-hmm. For outfield
Well,
help, and I was hoping Starling Marte. I was kind of hoping they would work a two with the Diamondbacks, Starling Marte and Archie Bradley. Archie Bradley's not out of the question. Fingers crossed. I would love to have Archie Bradley on the Yankees. I really would.
Well, Jorge Soler and maybe Whit Merrifield are still on the table for that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I anticipate the Royals doing something, though.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this is the most diverse amount of teams. That's not the right word, but the most amount of teams to be active at the trade deadline in quite a while. You don't see, 15 teams making trades at the deadline. Like at most, you'll see 5, maybe 10. But to see this many teams active is crazy.
And as I was saying a little bit ago, it's probably because with this playoff expansion that more teams are going to be in it.
Yeah.
So more teams are going to be trying to make that playoff push.
Oh, they're actually showing where VR got taken out of the game.
That's gotta be brutal to.
I totally forgot they were actually playing right now.
Yeah, it's the
Marlins and Mets. I even talked about it a little while ago.
We're playing right now, I think.
VR plays for the Marlins now. Well, now he plays for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, because I thought the only game that was going on right now was like Toronto and Baltimore.
Toronto and Baltimore, and apparently Mets and Marlins are going on too. I totally forgot about that one.
That probably could have just started though.
No, because I remember back when this thing first started, I said they were in like the 4th inning. So we'll have to see.
Probably because I don't have any Marlins or Mets on my fantasy team. That's probably why I didn't think it began.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the returns are for both the Marlins and what the return is for the Marlins for VR, and then what the return is for the Diamondbacks for Marte. So that I kind of wonder if Marte and VR kind of had something to do with each other in a way, because VR can play both outfield and shortstop. Because I think he was actually playing more outfield for Miami, but now he's going to go to Toronto and play shortstop.
Was it known what? So it's not known what the exchange is.
Not yet.
I don't know. Could it be maybe a starting pitcher though, considering that the Diamondbacks just lost Robbie Ray?
Could be. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's gonna be like a Jordan Yamamoto, but I wouldn't be surprised if. Oh, there it is right there. D-backs get Caleb Smith. There's a starter. Humberto Mejia, and a smaller piece from Marte. So there's your starter right there, Caleb Smith. Considering they're a last-place team and don't seem to be really going anywhere, not bad. Caleb Smith could actually win, five games or so for them between now and the end of the season. I don't know if they intend on having him be strictly a starter or if they intend him on kind of being that emergency starter. Guess we'll see. But freaking Starling Marte this year is hitting .311 with 11 extra base hits, 23 runs, and .827 on base plus slugging. That's really not bad.
And that's someone you want if you're wanting to make a playoff run.
Exactly. And that's only in 33 games.
It's 3 games, right? Between the Braves and the Marlins.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally forgot about that one. Michael Givens was traded from the Orioles to the Rockies. I forgot all about that one. But tying back for a second about what you were talking about with the Royals, I don't think they're going to buy big. They may get something because they've already traded Trevor Rosenthal to the Padres, and they were going to trade Greg Holland if they haven't already as well, at least from what I heard. I don't know if that is still the case, but
well, considering the Royals bullpen, like it's not really as consistent. I mean, a few years ago, you had a bullpen of Wade Davis, Greg Holland, Kelvin Herrera.
Back in the 2015 World Series run there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was kind of like the 2016 DMC of Dellin, Miller, and Chapman for the Yankees. Also, oh my God, the 8th and 9th combination of Sergio Romo and Brian Wilson for the Giants back, what was it, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago? From 2010 to 2014.
Yeah, and I think the Royals are better off just being complete sellers at this point because they've been a bottom feeder not only in their division but within the Major League Baseball ever since 2015. Ever since that World Series championship, they've been a complete bottom feeder in the MLB.
No, absolutely. Anything else? Let's see. Nothing else really going on right now. Oh, maybe. Nope, nothing more yet.
Do you still think Joey Gallo's going to get traded? Because I know you were telling me about that one a little bit ago, like before I came on.
I think it's still a possibility. I don't think it's as strong of a chance now, but I do think it could possibly be a possibility. The Cubs are working on acquiring Andrew Chafin from the Diamondbacks, so there's another Diamondbacks trade going on, possibly. So Diamondbacks are getting busy, but they're being sellers. So the two big acquisitions they made this offseason of Madison Bumgarner and Starling Marte, one of them is now gone. I don't foresee them trading Bumgarner this year. Maybe next trade deadline or the one after that. But being the fact that it was a 4-year contract, I don't foresee them trading him now. He doesn't have the value he had, at least in my opinion, when he was with San Francisco. So if I was them, I'd be holding on to him at least for another year, seeing, if you're still in the same boat next year with hopefully a full season, see what you can get for him then.
I don't know. Maybe we could see a team like maybe the Braves or even the Dodgers, considering Bumgarner's history in the postseason. Maybe they'd be willing to maybe make that kind of risk, take a chance on someone like that. Considering Bumgarner's not as good as he used to be, but he still has good postseason numbers.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Oh, looks like the A's and Mariners series at Safeco has been postponed due to the fact that the Oakland A's are still stuck in Houston. Wait, what's going on?
No, A's are still stuck in Houston. It's probably because of the hurricane, isn't it?
Well, that and the A's also had a positive COVID case.
It was just one, right?
Jake,
and then
Jake Jeffries. Can the Pirates trade someone already? So, Jake, you want the Pirates to be sellers?
Didn't they do that?
No, not yet.
Well, do the Pirates have anyone of like value that is worth being traded, considering that they're the worst team in the league? At least from a record standpoint.
I mean, I could see them trying to get something for like Josh Bell or Adam Frazier or maybe Polanco. But other than that, maybe what's his name? Keon Cola or whatever his name is, their pitcher there. Potential return of Isan Diaz makes trade of VR more understandable for Marlins. Diaz, who opted out, is awaiting MLB approval on whether he can be reinstated. So Isan Diaz, who opted out, is trying to get back to playing, which would make sense as to why he's getting, or why VR would be getting traded. How about the Giants? Giants are rumored to kind of be going back and forth between buying and selling. They talked about Kevin Gausman to the Yankees. Keon Kayla. Thank you for clarifying his name for me. Oh, he's hurt. That's right. I do remember that now. Yep, I remember now. I don't know. I'm also kind of surprised that the Braves aren't looking like a rental for second base with Albies hurt and really no timetable for his return. And that's a big bat to lose, especially with only a month left in the season.
Well, I mean, considering that the Braves, they're still pretty good offensively, I just don't think they're good enough to beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series, which I've been saying the entire season. I fully anticipate the Dodgers representing the National League in the World Series.
Yeah. Just like, who was it? The Dark Sage. Dark Sage. Talking about a Yankee-Dodger World Series.
And I think that would be a good thing for baseball, considering you have two blue blood franchises going at it for the World Series.
Two of the origin franchises of Major League Baseball, nonetheless.
I mean, I would hope that would go at least to a Game 7 or a very competitive 6 games that it takes to finish it.
Yeah.
Because the last thing that you'd want is to have a series like that ending in like a 4-game sweep.
So here's my thing. Because I'm reading the statement about the Athletics Mariners series. They're postponing it. But when you only have a month left before the postseason, how do you anticipate getting these games in? Wouldn't you just have to cancel them at this rate? Or at least if it happens within the next couple weeks? Andrew Chafin has been traded to the Cubs. So there's another one. I told you, this last hour gets crazy.
And that's a good thing to know, because usually I'm not really invested in really trade deadline for Major League Baseball. I mean, fantasy baseball this year has made me invested in Major League Baseball, that and the fact that it's a shortened season, that it's easier to focus on than the standard 162-game season.
Yeah, Jake, the Cubs just got Andrew Chafin from the Diamondbacks, so the Diamondbacks are clear sellers. Clear sellers. Hey, listen, though, I'm going to let you take the reins for a second, Johnny. I will be right back, all right?
All right, so, what would I, discuss?
Just what you think should be happening, any moves you think might happen, what teams should be looking for, based off of your fantasy team. But
I am 5-0.
Nice.
So clearly, I don't really need to make any changes to me personally, because my team's really stacked.
Yeah. All right. So I will be right back. I'm going to be like 2 minutes tops. But I think most of you guys will get a kick out of this picture.
So yeah, this is the first time I'm really invested in the MLB trade deadline. Really, usually baseball is really hard for me to get into, but I feel like this has been a great season so far. Although while Zach is gone, I will say that not only do I do baseball here and there, I mainly cover football, college football, NFL. I do a little NBA here and there, which the NBA, it's been really good to get into as well. However, I would say that football is my number one sport to cover. And look for me on YouTube, Johnny Talks Sports. Now, I haven't really done as much content this year due to the pandemic, where sports were suspended for about 3-4 months. But with college football returning, with the NFL returning, I'm hoping that I get a lot more content out there. And let's just actually switch gears a little bit and talk about the NFL for a little bit. The Jaguars are clearly tanking for the number one overall pick, most likely Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback out of Clemson. Because if you think about it, the Jaguars are fighting to get back to relevance as they have traded Yannick Ngakoue and they have released Leonard Fournette, all within a span of 24 hours. And they also got rid of Nick Foles in the offseason. They also got rid of Jalen Ramsey, who was requesting a trade for the longest time last year for the trade deadline. So I fully anticipate the Jaguars probably only winning at best maybe 2 or 3 games this season. And as far as who I think is going to be in Super Bowl 55, well, let's just say this. It is without a doubt the superior teams in the AFC are obviously the Chiefs and the Ravens. But with history on my side, it would be very easy to predict that the Chiefs will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. As far as the NFC, well, what kind of superior teams are there? The Saints that have consistently choked in the playoffs ever since they won their Super Bowl. The Seahawks, are they a superior team in the NFC? Considering that they are in what I think is going to be the second most difficult division in the NFC behind the NFC South. Because with the 49ers coming off a Super Bowl appearance, with the Rams also being the Super Bowl in recent memory, and with the Cardinals making these big offseason moves, I anticipate the NFC West is going to be up for grabs all throughout the season. And the NFC South, Tom Brady on the Buccaneers. Do I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can make the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they will? I still think they would. Although some people may think that the Buccaneers, why should we put them as a playoff team? Well, that's because they got a huge upgrade in the offseason with Tom Brady. And if you think about it, Jameis Winston led the league in passing yards last year, but unfortunately, he also led the league in interceptions. They're getting a huge upgrade at the quarterback position, and with Bruce Arians being the quarterback whisperer, I anticipate the Buccaneers making it to the playoffs. Do I think the Super Bowl? I think it's a little too far to say. But I would say, look for a Chiefs and 49ers rematch in the Super Bowl. I know the 49ers have lost a lot in the offseason, a couple big pieces, but there are still some big pieces there to get them back to the Super Bowl.
I knew you were going to take this to football while I was gone.
Yeah. I'm telling you, because it seems like it just feels like everything's going really slow, but maybe it's just not something I'm accustomed to.
Well, Julio Frias is the third player going to the D-backs for Starling Marte, and they're still working on getting the return for Andrew Chafin. Yankees have been in touch on Kevin Gausman, Dylan Bundy, and Lance Lynn, but aren't really overly optimistic. Gausman may be staying put after all. Lynn, I still foresee getting moved somewhere, maybe not back to the Bronx. Bundy, maybe a team like Minnesota.
Yeah, Bundy's having a good season so far. He had a game where he went the full 9 innings.
Yeah. I say, ironically, there haven't been a whole lot of complete games this year. Like, I know Garrett Cole got the complete game on opening day of 5 innings because it was shortened by rain. Obviously, Lucas Giolito just last week pitching the no-hitter.
Right.
Kenta Maeda almost had a no-hitter as well, 2.5 weeks ago?
I believe it was that long ago.
I know I was on vacation for it because I was sitting on the Cape watching it. But he ended up losing it, I think, with 1 out in the 9th, kind of like how Yu Darvish did twice. Goes 8 1/3 or 8 2/3, and then over.
Yeah, that's actually that's the most brutal time to lose a no-hitter, especially when you're so close to it, and then all of a sudden, wasn't there like one time where there was like a huge controversy? Everybody got mad because I guess there was a team that bunted with like 1 out in like the 9th just to break the no-hitter up.
Yep. I do remember that. I forget who it was now. Ooh, that could be interesting. So these are like trade predictions people are sending in. Jock Peterson and a player to be named later to the Rangers for Lance Lynn.
Well, considering that the Dodgers have a history of making these big-time trades for a pitcher, considering that they already do, I think, have the best pitching staff in baseball, it's World Series or bust for the Dodgers, and not just getting there, but actually winning it this time.
Right. Jake Jeffries again. Will there be another big name move before the deadline? I hope so. I know Johnny's probably like, it's over. It's like, let's just end this now. But I kind of hope there is. I don't think there's gonna be another name quite as big as Clevenger moved. But I definitely foresee, a couple more moves taking place.
I mean, I would love for someone else to be moved just for just for the dramatics, but it's kind of hard to say if there will be anybody that does get moved.
Right. So we are within the final 35 minutes of the trade deadline. Definitely, I didn't expect it to be this involved anyway, just due to the circumstances going on. I thought maybe, a few geographical moves making sense, like, New York to Miami, California to Texas, stuff like that, like within divisions. But I didn't expect to see like Clevenger heading out west. I didn't expect to see Robbie Ray heading to Canada, Buffalo. Lance Lynn might get traded. Yeah, Lance Lynn has been speculated actually for about a week now. Lynn, Bundy, Clevenger, who did obviously get traded, have all been getting speculated for the last week or so to get moved. If a team hasn't made a move yet, unless they're orchestrating something on the larger scale, I don't foresee them doing anything at this point. I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time not, that San Diego hasn't done anything else. I thought for sure Preller would had like one more move up his sleeve, but maybe not.
Although that one trade that you were reading off, it does seem like though to go to the Dodgers. I mean, especially with trading away Jock Peterson in exchange, because he's somewhat been underperforming this year, which is really hard to say that any Dodger player has been underperforming this season.
Right. Well, it's like I remember back during the whole Mookie Betts thing, originally that Betts trade was in fact a 4-team trade between the Dodgers, Angels, Red Sox, and Twins. It ended up breaking down to be like two separate trades because the other trade that involved the Angels never ended up happening. It was basically more or less Peterson and Andy Pages Peterson for Andy Pages and Luis Rengifo. That never ended up happening. So you just had your Kenta Maeda for your Brusdar Gratterall straight up, and then you had your Betts and Price for Jeter Downs, Verdugo, and whoever else there was. But yeah, like I said, originally that trade was supposed to be a 4-team trade, and it never ended up orchestrating as such. With the Marlins only being 3 games, tied, but only being 3 games back in the NL East, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to get one more piece, whether it be a starter or another bat. Their rotation isn't horrendous right now. It's enough to win games, but I'm sure they'd like to try and get like 1 or 2 more pieces in some way, shape, or form.
Especially with a lot of these teams being within 3 games of not only a division but also the wild card, it does make sense why Trevor Bauer has not been dealt and most likely won't get dealt.
Yeah.
Unless a team gives like this great exchange. I just can't see it. I don't think it really makes sense to really give up a pitcher like Trevor Bauer when you're still in the hunt. I'd say under a normal season, Trevor Bauer would have been dealt probably a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
If not a couple days ago. But since it's a shortened season, there is a lot less room for error. Like if you have, like you can easily get back in the hunt with a 6-7 game winning streak. So there's no point in a lot of these teams sticking a fork in their season. I mean, maybe the Pirates can stick a fork in their season, maybe.
Yeah. Manuel Rosales just said that they said that Gausman is staying. Yeah, it's been back and forth for actually a lot of these guys. The Phillies just acquired David Phelps from the Brewers. See, there's another one. Yeah, Gausman at this rate I think is staying. At this rate, I don't think the Yankees are going to do much. They might try and get a pitcher or something like last minute. But overall, I don't think Yankees are going to do much. Red Sox are not going to do anything. One thing I just noticed, though, I'm kind of surprised that the Diamondbacks are selling as much as they are, because while, yes, they are 11.5 games out of their division, they're only 3 games out of the wild card. So it's a little surprising that the Diamondbacks are selling as heavy as they are, where they do still have that possible chance to sneak into the wild card. Whereas teams like the Nationals and the Pirates that haven't done jack have virtually no chance. They're 7, 8, 9 games out of the wild card.
Yeah, like as I was saying, like unless you're that far back, there's no point in sticking a fork in your season.
Right.
Like you can still get back into. You could have one good week where you get on this run late in the season, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the playoffs.
Yeah. So yeah, you might be the 8th seed and probably looking at a first-round bye, or a first-round exit. But I mean, hey,
maybe not necessarily, considering there's going to be no fans in attendance for the playoffs, and in professional sports or even college sports in general, or even just overall sports, a lot of the teams, they use the crowd energy as a huge difference maker in their games. And without that element, we could see some chaos in this Major League Baseball playoffs. Like, who knows? Maybe we could see the Dodgers maybe struggle in the first round or struggle early on in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, it's like I remember last year they made right after the Dodgers lost in Game 4 of the NLDS to the Nationals. I think it was Joel Sherman wrote a tweet. 2017 Dodgers lose World Series or lose in World Series. 2018 Dodgers lose in World Series. And 2019 they go out in the division round. It's like they're like right freaking there. But you got that slow start in the first game or two of your series, especially this year where it's 3-game series, best of 3 series, at least for the first round or two. You're toast. I also find it ironic though that the Dodgers for the last 3 years have been the team to lose to the eventual World Series champions. Because think about
and that's exactly why I feel like the Dodgers aren't wanting to take a risk on this big-time player like Lance Lynn. Well, not really big-time player, but at least a big-time candidate that could possibly be talked about getting dealt, because they don't want to face that pressure of they have to win the World Series or else this season's been a disappointment.
Right. I mean, if I'm the Dodgers, overall, I'm comfortable with what I have. I wouldn't mind that one solitude, just like that rental, like Machado, like Darvish. Who the hell did they get 2 years ago? No, I can't remember. Oh, I know that was Machado. But, that Darvish, that Machado. Notice last year they didn't really get that rental, and they never ended up making it to the World Series. So maybe that rental does have something to do with it, that little, boost. But at the same time, they're starting to get their big guys up now. They're starting to get, their Gavin Luxes, their Dustin Mays, their Will Smiths. Jake, Phillies get David Price. Yes, they did. I'm waiting to see what that return is. So the final trade for the Blue Jays and Diamondbacks was Robbie Ray and cash considerations to Toronto for Travis Bergen, 2 left-handed pitchers. Wow, Phelps clearly still has some value. The Brewers are getting 3 prospects. Greg Amsinger's freaking out that the Marlins are actually making moves. I find that funny. You right there, Johnny?
Yeah. Yeah, just see if there's really anything new that's happening, because I know you said you were following other analysts on there. I'm just having Ken Rosenthal.
All right, so Phillies will trade multiple low-level pitchers to Milwaukee. All player to be named later. Could be 2 or 3. So David Phelps is reuniting with Didi Gregorius with Joe Girardi, and the Brewers are getting future help. So the Brewers, does that make the Brewers sellers? Honestly, if they're trading David Phelps, does that make them a selling team in the last 27 minutes of the trade deadline?
I think it definitely does, considering that teams, they also want to invest in the future as well. Because maybe if we're being realistic, maybe some of these teams think, okay, maybe we're not as superior as teams maybe such as the Dodgers or the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Braves or the Athletics or the Rays or even the Padres. But they can also try to focus on maybe 3 or 4 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's another one. So a lot of trades have taken place, especially in the last, I'm going to say 6 hours, because that's about when the news broke about Mike Clevenger. Jonathan Villar getting traded to the that's a typo. It says Jonathan Villar traded from the Orioles, but that's actually supposed to be from the Marlins. So MLB Network just had a typo there. But Jonathan Villar, Robbie Ray, Starling Marte, Mike Clevenger, Tommy LaStella was acquired by the Athletics a few days ago by the Angels. I forgot about that one. Taijuan Walker. Lance Lynn got traded to the White Sox. Is that breaking news? We got breaking news coming from a comment? Hydro_B.
Well, that could be a troll account, though. At least
could be.
Where they're getting it from. I'm not saying that this person's trolling us, but it could be from one of those.
They are. Like one of the fake Ken Rosenthal accounts, because there's like 10 of them.
Yeah, like a Barry McCockiner of the major leagues.
Yeah.
Although I do love Barry McCockiner, though he seems kind of funny though.
Bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, Barry McCockiner respects the troops, and he wants you to as well.
Yanks going Clint and Davey for Lynn and Gallo, and then Tyro, Schmidt, Abreu for Bundy and Simmons. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's a fake thing.
That's got to be fake.
Why? What's the username?
Well, John Boy tweeted it. You know, the guy that does all like the reactions and like the breakdowns of like the fights and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of John Boy Media, right?
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see.
Well, who does John Boy know?
He said it's. Wait a minute. Hang on.
Yeah, because shouldn't he have a blue check mark by his name?
Yeah, and he does. Yeah, all right, so Jake Jeffries is asking what he said. The exact tweet says Yankees going Clint and Devi, who just made his debut yesterday, for Lance Lynn and Joey Gallo, and then Tyro Estrada, Clark Schmidt, and Abreu for Bundy and Simmons. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, my wow. So I guess we'll have to see if anything breaks on that, because he doesn't give a source. So I don't know if that's just him kind of being John Boy like he is, or if that's actually legit.
Well, I don't see a thing from that. Yeah, that's John Boy Media, isn't it? Because I don't see anything from that.
Might as well pack Lindor's bags now. Like, really, what in the actual tourney?
And apparently he was live with Clevenger
best.
when he got traded to the Padres or something. Well, I guess he was live with somebody talking about it.
Wait, okay, Hydro, if you're being just trying to be funny, like let's be for real here. You gotta show where you're getting that from. Not saying you're trolling us. I'm just saying, like, let's be legit.
Well, it's obviously not legit, because it would obviously be by Ken Rosenthal by now, or any of those other analysts that you were talking about earlier.
And especially considering I have alerts and all that. Oh, wait a minute. The Rockies are acquiring outfielder Kevin Pillar and cash from the Red Sox.
That's
actually from a legit account. I'm actually seeing that. Interesting. Kevin Pillar heading out to Colorado. I don't hate that. No, I'm talking about the John. Oh, he's talking about the John Boy thing. Okay. Okay, we saw that one already. That's David Phelps one. I think that's just a trade prediction. It could be. Well, if that's true.
Well, we're at about 20 minutes left.
Yep. So I do definitely think that the big names that are moving have moved at this rate. Maybe like a last minute, Martin Perez of the Red Sox, a last minute, I don't even know.
Or like maybe somebody I've never really heard of.
Right. Like those.
I don't really watch a lot of baseball, to tell you the truth, but I feel like I know enough to kind of see what's going on, or like what could happen.
Dodgers trade talks with Rangers on pitcher Lance Lynn have intensified in the last several hours.
Who's that from? Is that from?
That's one of the main guys. It's John Morosi. Evan P. Grant reported it first. Oh, Johnny just popped somewhere.
So Lance Lynn of the Dodgers, those talks have been intensifying.
Yep.
Well, that could be that yearly last minute deal that you're referring to. So I've truly never have been a witness to an MLB trade deadline day. I've been for NBA trade deadline day, I've been really a witness of, but never really the MLB.
Yeah, honestly, I personally feel that the MLB trade deadline is actually one of the most, I guess I'll say, dramatic. The Marlins traded for Marte. Yep, we reported on that one a little while ago. So that was definitely, I'm not going to say it's a move that I didn't see coming. I definitely saw Marte getting traded. I didn't necessarily see him getting traded to the Marlins, though. That's the one. That's the part of the deal that surprised me. So we are in the final 20 minutes. Little man knows sports. What's going on? Looks like most of our views and comments are coming from YouTube now, which is pretty cool. I'm all for that.
It's coming from the YouTube page?
Yep. Yeah, because we got Facebook, we got Twitch, we got Periscope, and we got YouTube all going on.
I've never heard of Periscope before. Is that kind of like a...
It's through Twitter.
Oh, okay.
It used to be its own separate thing, and then Twitter bought it, but kept the name. Is there anything else?
Although it would kind of make sense for the Dodgers to add a pitcher, considering that Dustin May it's kind of on and off so far, at least what I've seen statistically.
Little man knows sports. Not too bad. Definitely. I always look forward to trade deadline day. I actually requested off work for it, just to make sure I had today off. Pirates are so bad they won't even give them cash for their trash players. True.
Looks like Hydro Beam is waiting for Bundy and Lynn to get traded.
Yep.
Then Bob Rocks is asking if there's any Pirates trades.
And Jake popped right back on it. No. So the Rockies and Red Sox trade is Kevin Pillar and cash from the Red Sox in exchange for a player to be named later and 2019-2020 international slot money. Not quite sure what void the Rockies have that they necessarily needed an outfielder, unless they have an injury that I didn't know about.
Are you watching the MLB Tonight Show or something?
Yeah, why? Can you hear it?
Yeah, because I have it on my TV too, but I didn't want to play it because I didn't want this to get copyright or anything.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could hear it. I definitely need to turn that down then.
Because I don't know if they're going to copyright you for that. Even if it's just the audio from it.
Hydro Beam, Edwin Diaz should get traded. Well, little man knows sports. I will throw up the biggest trade right on that bottom ticker.
Well, I do got to say, I personally feel like you're not doing too bad considering that people are at work and they're at school and stuff. Because college. A lot of colleges were starting these past couple weeks, and
Yeah, I mean, literally, I went live on this thing, and there's 25 people almost immediately. I think, again, partially because there's 4 different platforms, but still.
or there could be some where their schools decided not to open their doors this fall.
Right. But yeah, so Little Man Knows Sports, that is the biggest trade that has happened thus far. And we are 15 minutes away from the trade deadline. So within 15 minutes, anything that is going to happen has to be submitted to the offices of Major League Baseball. Otherwise, got to wait until the offseason. So I think it's safe to say at this point, Yasiel Puig is sitting out the rest of the season. He did sign back in June, I believe, with the Atlanta Braves, but then about a week later tested positive for the virus, and his deal ended up getting terminated because of it. And I've seen him all over the place, partying out in Vegas and stuff since then. So I think it's safe to say that at this rate, he is, in fact, sitting out the rest of the season.
So you said in Vegas, mask on or mask off?
In the particular picture mask that I saw, the mask was off.
Kind of like Future.
Yeah.
Didn't he the one that wrote that song about mask off?
That doesn't mean that he had his mask off the entire time. I mean, it seemed like he was just with his own group of people. And they seem to be they were up on a roof, so they seem to be isolated from everybody. How often do you all go live videos? Not as often as I would like, I'll be honest. This is my second one this week. But before that, I haven't done a live stream in, oh my God, months. I do intend to get back to it shortly. So if you want to drop that subscribe button, also subscribe to Johnny Talk Sports as well. He's got some awesome content. We don't mirror content too much, but we both do NFL season predictions. If there's big stuff going on in the MLB, he'll talk about it. But definitely drop some subs.
I'll be honest. As far as MLB, I'd say that's probably 4 or 5 of the sports that I actually follow in depth.
Yeah.
NFL is probably 1. Well, college football is 1. NFL is 2. NBA is probably 3. Then probably NHL, MLB, either one of those.
Hydro Beam, where do you think Trevor Bauer is going? At this rate in the game, I mean, we're 12 minutes out. I think he's staying put. I think Bauer's staying put. I think Gosman's staying put. At this rate, I think Gallo and Lynn are probably staying put unless something pops up out of nowhere. And Lynn or Gallo is the 359 trade every year. At this rate, I think most of the bigger names are staying put. At this rate, I think there's probably just going to be a couple smaller trades going on. But other than that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up. CZYQR, I'm not going to try and say that, but hello, how you doing?
And it also makes sense for Bauer to stay where he is, considering that the Reds, they're not too far behind in the division or in the wild card at all. So it just makes sense that a lot of these really high candidates, or that would at least be on the market any other season, would still be on there, considering that there's still a chance that you can find yourself in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're where are they? They're 5 games out of their division and a game and a half out of the wild card. So
because you don't want to focus on the what if you kept Bauer on your roster.
Exactly.
Especially if you fall maybe 1 game short of the playoffs, because you would anticipate that Trevor Bauer would at least be a huge difference maker in the Reds making or missing the playoffs either way.
Let's see. Griffin Conine, or Conine, son of Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine, goes to Marlins for VR. Cubs get Osich for a player to be named later from the Red Sox. I think the Marlins should have gotten Miguel Andujar for a young arm, since the Yankees didn't give Miguel much time to play. See, I definitely think that the Yankees should have done something and made Andujar part of it. I don't know what the Marlins would have really had to offer for Andujar. I don't think that they would have been able to get as much as you think that they would from the Marlins, or even from any team really. Like, now, if this was Andujar of like 2 years ago, pre-injury, then yeah, there actually might have been some serious value. But he's been injured, and since he's been injured, he hasn't really amounted to much. So his value has definitely taken a toll, or taken a serious toll on that. I'm also surprised because almost every year there's a 3-team trade at the trade deadline, and there hasn't been one. So that kind of surprises me as well.
Oh, we're inside of 10 minutes left.
Yep.
So is now the point where you're like not anticipating much to happen? Like we could see like
no,
probably...
honestly, I even expect to see stuff for another half hour to an hour after 4 o'clock. Just like a couple little trickles here and there. Nothing crazy, because you got to think about it. Stuff just has to be submitted by 4 o'clock. It doesn't have to be announced to the public by 4 o'clock. So I think anything is still possible. Lynn may still get moved. Gallo still may get moved. I don't know. But I was really, really hoping that my Yankees would pick up Archie Bradley. And the Pirates traded one player, Gerard Dyson. Wait, what? I thought Dyson got
that one.
Jake. I thought Dyson was from like the White Sox to, I don't even know, or to the White Sox even. They get traded again? Or was it Pirates to the White Sox? Is that what it was? So at that point, if it was Pirates to White Sox, which now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember something about that. Pirates did something at least. He got traded a couple days ago. That's what I thought. I meant that's the only trade. Okay, I got you. Yeah, they're talking about now, Yankees, Dodgers, and Mets have been really freaking quiet. Almost too quiet. Because usually every year the Yankees and the Dodgers, for that matter, at least do something.
Maybe it's probably because they only have maybe one agenda or like one plan to have. Instead of multiple of these teams are making acquisition after acquisition. Maybe they just have their mindset on just one thing.
Yeah.
Well, probably one person in particular.
I mean, hey, they
That's
can't.
Probably why they're so quiet right now.
Yeah, they can't all be AJ Preller. I just want like one more like just freaking like ticking time bomb to just like and just pick something up.
Well, that would bring in ratings, I think.
Come on, I just want one more like balls to the wall freaking.
Do you like take advantage of like YouTube's opportunities to like make hashtags or something or tags?
I do sometimes. Especially for like my series, not so much for my live streams. I probably should for the live streams, but haven't heard anything on Whit Merrifield. Actually, I think you spelled it right. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on him either. So at this rate, he's another one who I think, unless it's like that 359 or even one that trickles down later, I think Merrifield's staying put.
Yeah, because I've been hearing for weeks that Whit Merrifield could be someone that could get traded, maybe not necessarily get traded necessarily. Like that he could be on the market ideally.
It's possible.
I mean, considering Whit Merrifield is who I think is probably the Royals' best player right now, maybe it's probably best for them to maybe at least still have some talent still around, like long term. Because I feel like if we saw other Royals step up throughout the season, I think Witt probably could have been dealt already.
Yeah. Isan Diaz, who opted out, like I said, just last month, is going to take over at second base for the Marlins once he gets his reinstatement from Major League Baseball.
So is that kind of how it works? Like if you opted out, you have to get reinstated by the league?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that technically puts you on a restricted list in a way. All
So
right, y'all.
wouldn't they have to like drop somebody or cut somebody from the roster or something?
Well, that's kind of what
send them
happened.
down to
They
their
traded
affiliate?
VR, so that's kind of where that's going. That's kind of like the move that's going to happen in a way. The Marlins are calling up Jazz Chisholm. Are they really? Wow. So they're probably going to call Chisholm up until Diaz gets reinstated. That way they have someone at second base, because otherwise there's going to be a hole on the field. 4 minutes. All right, guys. Any last what do you guys think is going to happen last minute? Anything? Or you think this will be the 1 year that we don't have a 359 trade?
And then I'll say I told you so.
Shut up. Christopher, Braves need help. They do, to an extent, but we're in our final 180 seconds here. I don't foresee the Braves doing something this late in the game. Kind of like my Yankees, unfortunately. I was really hoping they would do something, but Cashman's just been flatline once again. I feel like Lynn is going to the Dodgers. I think you're right. We just talked about this. In 2017, the Dodgers and Rangers struck the Yu Darvish trade at the final buzzer. Could they do it again with Lance Lynn? Do you
if
think
they do, then
another
there's pressure on them to win the World Series.
Yeah.
If they lose it, it's considered another disappointment. Especially with what they've done in the offseason with Mookie Betts and signing that huge contract with him.
Gabe, do you mean on top of David Phelps? Because they did just get David Phelps. Jake, there will be something. They might be waiting until after, or to announce a big trade after 4. That could be. Could very well be. Come on, I want to see it. Let's see the move. One more. Hopefully for my Yankees, but one more. All right. We got that one already. The Josh Osik from the Red Sox to the Cubs. Thanks, Joel. We got that one already. All right, we're in the final 2 minutes, you guys. 2 minutes until everything has to be turned into the commissioner's office or wherever exactly it has to go. After that, done until the off season.
So that's kind of like that for every sport. So I remember there was 1 year where the Browns they had a deal for AJ McCarron where they didn't send it or something. So I guess they were too excited about it, and then
they forgot to send it. I'm a Marlins fan. I want to know y'all opinions on Sixto Sanchez. I think he's going to be a great pitcher in the future. Sixto Sanchez actually has some very strong potential. I think that this is definitely the best season to kind of introduce him to the majors, being that it is, the shortened season, the 60-player pool. Everyone's kind of switching in and out, kind of like what the Yankees did with Davy Garcia. I definitely think that, like I said, he's got potential. They're talking that he could be, may he rest in peace, the next Jose Fernandez. I don't foresee him going to that extreme without a lot of help from a solid pitching coach that, I'm sorry, but right now the Marlins lack. Don't get me wrong. He'll be a great pitcher, a solid 3 guy. Do I foresee him being an ace of a rotation? Sure, if the Marlins suck for the next 5 years, but I can't see the Marlins continuing their reign of not being good for much longer. Guys, we got 25 seconds. 25 seconds until stuff has to be in. Well, this is at least according to the MLB Network, which I'm streaming. So actually, it's 4 p.m. now. So stuff has to be in now. So if it's not in, you're done. All right. So anything that's going to happen from here on out, if anything, has to be agreed upon, at least to an extent. Joel Sherman, Dodgers are not getting Lance Lynn. That is confirmed. The Dodgers are not getting Lance Lynn.
And I think that shows that either A, they have complete confidence in the rotation they have right now of Kershaw, Buehler, May, Stripling, and even Alex Wood, who I believe has been on the injured list most of the season, but I think he's on his way to coming back or he's already back.
Cincinnati Reds, they get Brian Goodwin from the Los Angeles Angels. So the Angels are fully committed to Joe Adell, is what that tells me, that they're trading Brian Goodwin to the Reds. Source, the Twins did not trade for a starting pitcher. So the Twins are done, at least as far as the starting market goes. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is like when the tweets start rolling in. Hey, this is still possibly on the horizon. Hey, this isn't happening.
Although I will say, option B of why maybe the Dodgers aren't ending up with Lance Lynn, it could be because maybe they had a talk in the works, but they didn't know exactly who to give up in exchange. It's kind of hard to say. Like, it's kind of hard to label any Dodger player as someone that is underperforming this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe the Rangers wanted something else in exchange.
Let's see. Anything else? The Braves did not add a starter before the trade deadline.
Well, I think that personally has cost them the chance of getting to the World Series. So,
yep. So the Padres for sure won this deadline. I agree. Brian Goodwin got traded.
Who else could you consider like winners of the trade deadline other than the Padres? Because they made serious moves in the last 36 hours.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it has not been reported who is getting traded for Brian Goodwin. My guess is it's not going to be much. Maybe a 1-for-1. Braves for sure needed something. There's Kenny.
Yep, it looks like Lynn and Gallo are staying according to...
Yeah, according to everything that's being talked about, it looks like they're staying put. It looks like that might be it. There might be some, like I said, some last-minute trickles, which at that point, if I deem them fit enough... oh, yep. The trade deadline has passed. The word from Arlington, Rangers are done. Lynn and Gallo are staying. Confirmed. So if it warrants a video or even an update in any way, shape, or form, I will bring it. But it sounds like that is pretty much it. I figure I'll keep this going for a little bit longer, maybe until 4:30, just to see if anything kind of rolls through. Rays and Nationals did nothing. Yeah, Josh, Rays and Nationals did absolutely nothing. So I'm not surprised with the Nationals overall. Cameron Maybin has been traded from the Detroit Tigers to the Chicago Cubs. Interesting. I didn't know the Cubs really needed an outfielder unless they're kind of using him as like a platoon guy with like Ian Happ or Albert Almora Jr. But aside from that, okay, there's a big one. The Cincinnati Reds got Archie Bradley. damn it. That's the one guy out of all the guys that were left that I was hoping my Yankees would get. But in fact, the Cincinnati Reds got Archie Bradley. I totally just missed what that one trade or what that one tweet was. Yankees have checked in on Starling Marte as they suddenly have half their outfield out. And Chris Dixon tweeting back that he is utterly disappointed. Maben has been, really. Maben is going for Edwin Jackson's record of 14 teams played for. Let's see. Anything else going on? Johnny, what are your now that you've kind of gone through an MLB trade deadline, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's kind of somewhat what I expected of maybe like we didn't really see anything like a huge like bombshell get dropped at the last minute or within the last half hour. Although the one time I do remember like something happened within like the last maybe hour of a trade deadline was Chris Archer, one of the Pirates a few years ago.
Yep.
But I do think a lot of teams, as I've said a few times already, it just seems like a lot of these teams, they want to stay put with some of these players that they put on the trade block any other season. But since almost everyone's so close to each other, you don't want to risk like giving away somebody that could end up costing you a chance going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be too risky for someone like the Reds to have traded Bauer, considering that the Reds starting rotation has done pretty well this year.
Yeah, they have.
And they're still in the playoff hunt.
They absolutely have. So I think it's safe to say that even most of the trickles are done. There'll probably be a few more over the course of the next hour. Like I said, if I warrant it necessary, so basically if it's something big, then I will bring it to everyone's attention either in another video or something like that. Otherwise, I think we're just about there. I think it's safe to say that the Padres won the trade deadline. The Reds actually weren't too far behind in their last few kind of swoops that they did with Archie Bradley and a couple others. Phillies are definitely improving that bullpen. They're trying to make a push.
Yeah, as far as the Pirates winning the trade deadline, I don't think it's even close. I think at least by a half mile, the Padres won the trade deadline.
So really quick, I do want to shadow over. So Jays have Guerrero, Bo, and VR as infield. They actually don't have Bo Bichette right now. That's actually why they acquired Jonathan VR. Bo Bichette is out for the indefinite future. So they actually have Travis Shaw playing third. Jonathan VR playing short. Calvin Biggio playing second. I believe he's on the active roster right now. I don't think he's hurt. And Vlad Jr. at first. I think Vogelbach is kind of going to be their DH. I think that's kind of what they intend for him to do. With Lourdes Gurriel out in left field. So, real quick though, I do want to switch over for a brief second to football. I don't know, Johnny, if you talked on this at all while I was gone. Oh, Mets get Robinson Chirinos. So the Mets did, in fact, end up making a trade. But
it looks like you got the notification before I did.
Yeah.
Unless it's that one from Ken Rosenthal, or
I didn't see it.
No.
Like I didn't see who it was from. I just saw it pop through. Leonard Fournette. being released by the
Yeah,
Jacksonville
and
Jaguars.
that's about 24 hours after they traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Vikings.
So I'm not quite sure what Jacksonville's trying to do.
Trying to get
There's
the number one
Hobo.
pick.
Someone said football.
Wait, Hobo's in the comment section?
He's in the comment section.
Wait, but I thought this was about the trade deadline. And
It is.
I'd say as a moderator, should I put the Hobo in timeout?
I forgot you're a moderator. No, don't put him in timeout.
Seriously, I gotta subscribe to Hobo because I would do that. I would do it like the old way, but I guess YouTube doesn't allow you to do that anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I guess you can't like click a channel through the live chat, I guess.
Oh.
Yep, I'm now subscribed to our boy Hobo.
That's true, Hobo. He hasn't really done anything major since 2017. It was 2014. And I'm writing the script for my week one predictions right as we speak. Yeah, I probably should do that here shortly. But yeah, so that seems to be the bulk of the trade deadline. I'm interested to see who the Mets gave up for Chirinos. I don't think it's gonna be anyone too big, but at the same time, stranger things have happened. So
Now that you think about it, I am kind of surprised that maybe the Mets didn't go after Joey Gallo, considering that isn't Joey Gallo, isn't like an offensive fielder, right? Or is he
an outfielder, you mean? Yes.
Okay.
He used to be a third baseman, then he went to left field, then he went to first base, then he went to right field. Now he kind of just plays anywhere in the outfield or first or third base.
Okay. So I remember on Fantasy Baseball they put him as third base or offensive fielder.
Yeah.
Considering that Jonas Cespedes opted out of the season about a month ago, I think it was, or earlier in the month.
Mm-hmm. It was about a month ago.
Maybe that could have been to kind of fill in that kind of void a little bit.
Yeah, but by that same token, Dominic Smith actually has not been doing too bad in Cespedes' absence. Smith, for those who don't know, started as a first baseman. He was a first baseman by trade, and he just didn't pan out. Pete Alonso kind of took over the reins rather quickly in New York, and all of a sudden, Cespedes opted out. They had been trying Smith in the outfield as it was, and they decided to give him a shot, and he's just been absolutely crushing it.
But yeah, as far as Cespedes opting out of the season, considering I believe isn't he a free agent at the end of the season?
Next season, I think.
So could it be possible that we could be seeing him be dealt at next year's trade deadline, do you think?
If he's still playing and not let me rephrase that. If he hasn't been released by the Mets by that point, I wouldn't be surprised to see.
I feel like if he gets released by the Mets, we'll probably
to at least see his name being brought up.
Like, let's just say if he gets released by the Mets, I would give it like maybe about 2 weeks before he's signing with like the Braves or even maybe the Cubs or the Dodgers.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the Dodgers. I think their outfield is more than crowded enough. Being that, just for their starters alone, you got Peterson, Bellinger, and Betts. Then you got Chris Taylor and Kike Hernandez, who can both play the outfield. Muncy can play the outfield if needed. So I definitely don't think that he would go to the Dodgers unless they, for some reason, didn't have one of those six guys, or, well, at least I'd say at least two of those six guys come this point next season. But you also got to remember, we are 11 months from the 2021 MLB trade deadline due to the fact that the only reason this year was August was because the season started in June.
So yeah, at least there's something to look forward to 11 months from now instead of the full calendar year.
So, anyway, Johnny, I think we're about to wrap this up. My phone seems
Thank
to
you for
have
inviting me on again
slowed down.
this week.
I lied. Not done yet. The Mets also get Miguel Castro from the Orioles. So they have gotten Robinson Chirinos from the Rangers, and they've now gotten Miguel Castro from the Orioles. So the Orioles have seemed to have gone into a selling frenzy with their bullpen. Mets are trying to do something. Not quite sure what that something is, but something. I'm still kind of curious to see what they gave up for those guys. And again, like I said, I will update people as it comes through. But anyway, guys, Johnny, thank you again, sir.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Hopefully,
I need a nap after this because this is something that I think I feel a little tired today, so I'm thinking about taking a nap.
Yeah, I mean, the trade deadline definitely takes a lot out of you, especially if it's your first time following it. But hopefully I will see you sometime soon. Maybe we'll do some trade or some prediction stuff. Maybe we'll do those live. Maybe the three of us will put our foots in our mouth together one week all at the same time. We'll see. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for me and Johnny. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, hit that notification bell. It's the number one way to help out a channel. Like the MLB Report on Facebook. Check out Ardent Sports on Twitch and YouTube, and also just my Twitter, Zach Jenkins 2K17, as that is everything that was streamed on today. And I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace. I'm out.